The year is 2025. India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed neighbors, stand at a crossroads. Their relationship, always fraught with tension, is once again teetering on the brink. The dispute over Kashmir, a land of breathtaking beauty and bitter conflict, remains the heart of the problem. Despite a recent ceasefire, the echoes of war still linger in the air. Both nations are caught in a dangerous game of brinkmanship. The cost of conflict is too high, yet the path to peace seems elusive. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for diplomacy to prevail. But the question remains, can these historical adversaries break free from the shackles of the past and forge a new future? This is the story of India and Pakistan in 2025, a tale of tension and truce, of hope and despair. The roots of the India-Pakistan conflict run deep, entangled in the tumultuous partition of British India in 1947. This partition was not just a political division, but a human tragedy of immense proportions. It led to one of the largest mass migrations in history, with millions of people crossing borders to join their chosen nation, either India or Pakistan. Families were torn apart, homes were abandoned, and a sense of fear and uncertainty gripped the subcontinent. This event, meant to bring freedom, instead unleashed unprecedented violence and displacement. Communities that had coexisted for centuries turned against each other, leading to horrific communal riots. The streets were filled with chaos, and the air was thick with the cries of the displaced and the wounded. The scars of this partition are still visible today, etched into the collective memory of both nations. The princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, with its Muslim-majority population and Hindu ruler, became a battleground. The Maharaja of Kashmir faced immense pressure from both India and Pakistan to accede to their respective nations. His decision to join India amidst an invasion by tribal militias from Pakistan set the stage for the first of many conflicts over this region. The first of many wars erupted in 1947 itself, leaving Kashmir divided along a fragile line of control. This line, which was meant to be a temporary ceasefire line, has since become a de facto border, heavily militarized and frequently contested. The people of Kashmir found themselves caught in the crossfire, their lives disrupted by the constant threat of violence. Subsequent conflicts in 1965 and 1971 further deepened the chasm between the two nations. The 1965 war saw fierce battles and significant casualties on both sides, but it ended in a stalemate, with no clear victor. The 1971 war, however, had a more decisive outcome, leading to the creation of Bangladesh and a significant shift in the regional balance of power. The Kargil War of 1999, fought on the icy heights of the Himalayas, served as a stark reminder of the ever-present danger of escalation. This conflict, initiated by Pakistani infiltrators occupying strategic heights in the Kargil district, led to intense battles in some of the most inhospitable terrains on Earth. The war ended with India reclaiming its territory, but the loss of lives and the strain on relations were profound. In 2019, India revoked Article 370 of its constitution, stripping Jammu and Kashmir of its special status and integrating it more closely with the Indian Union. This move was part of a broader strategy to bring uniformity in the application of laws across India. However, it also meant the loss of autonomy that Jammu and Kashmir had enjoyed since its accession to India. This move, while welcomed by some, was met with resistance and anger in Kashmir and further strained relations with Pakistan. Protests erupted across the region, and the Indian government imposed strict security measures to maintain order. The international community watched closely, concerned about the potential for increased violence and the impact on regional stability. The historical backdrop of the India-Pakistan conflict is a complex tapestry of political decisions, wars, and human suffering, with Kashmir at its heart. Today, Jammu and Kashmir is a union territory of India. The Indian government points to development initiatives, improved infrastructure, and a decline in terrorist incidents as signs of progress. Elections have been held, and tourism is slowly being revived. However, beneath the surface of normalcy, an undercurrent of discontent continues to simmer. The presence of a large military force, restrictions on communication, and allegations of human rights violations fuel resentment among sections of the Kashmiri population. Pakistan, for its part, continues to claim Kashmir as its own, citing the region's Muslim-majority population and the principle of self-determination. While its influence has diminished, Pakistan's support for separatist groups in Kashmir remains a source of tension. Section 4. Military might and missiles, a looming threat. Both India and Pakistan possess formidable military forces, each equipped with a nuclear arsenal. The military capabilities of these two nations are not just for show. They represent a significant deterrent and a potential threat to regional stability. The sheer scale of their arsenals, including advanced missile systems and a variety of conventional weapons, underscores the high stakes involved. Each side has invested heavily in modernizing their military infrastructure, ensuring that they remain prepared for any eventuality. The presence of nuclear weapons adds a layer of complexity and danger to the already volatile situation. The line of control, a 740-kilometer stretch of barbed wire and bunkers, remains heavily militarized. This demarcation line, which separates Indian-controlled and Pakistani-controlled territories in the disputed region of Kashmir, is one of the most dangerous borders in the world. Soldiers from both sides maintain a constant vigil, ready to respond to any perceived threat. The rugged terrain and harsh weather conditions add to the challenges faced by the troops stationed here. Despite numerous attempts at peace, the line of control remains a flashpoint for skirmishes and conflicts. The specter of a nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, now casts a long shadow over the region. The possibility of a nuclear exchange, however remote, is a constant source of anxiety for the people living in the shadow of these weapons. The potential consequences of such a conflict are catastrophic, not just for the immediate region, but for the entire world. The environmental and humanitarian impact of a nuclear war would be devastating, with long-lasting effects that could span generations. This looming threat serves as a grim reminder of the destructive power that lies in the hands of these two nations. A ceasefire agreement in 2021 brought a period of relative calm. This agreement was a significant step towards de-escalating tensions and fostering a sense of normalcy in the region. For a time, it seemed as though the two nations might be able to move towards a more peaceful coexistence. The ceasefire allowed for a reduction in hostilities and provided a respite for the civilians living in the border areas. However, the underlying issues remained unresolved and the peace was always fragile, dependent on the goodwill and restraint of both sides. However, this fragile peace was shattered in April 2025 when a terrorist attack on a tourist resort in Indian-controlled Kashmir claimed the lives of 26 people. The attack was a stark reminder of the persistent threat of terrorism in the region. It not only caused immense grief and suffering, but also reignited the simmering tensions between India and Pakistan. The immediate aftermath saw a flurry of accusations and counter-accusations, with both sides blaming each other for the deteriorating security situation. The attack underscored the challenges of maintaining peace in a region fraught with historical grievances and deep-seated mistrust. India blamed Pakistan-based militants for the attack, leading to a rapid escalation of tensions. The Indian government vowed to take decisive action, and the military was put on high alert. Protests erupted in various parts of India, with citizens demanding a strong response. The media coverage was intense, with round-the-clock reporting on the developments. The situation quickly spiraled, with both nations engaging in a war of words and military posturing. The international community watched with growing concern as the possibility of a larger conflict loomed. Missiles were exchanged, drones buzzed in the skies, and airstrikes were launched. The conflict escalated rapidly, with both sides demonstrating their military capabilities. The use of advanced technology, including drones and precision-guided missiles, highlighted the modern nature of the warfare. The civilian population bore the brunt of the conflict, with many forced to flee their homes in search of safety. The destruction and chaos were widespread, with significant damage to infrastructure and loss of life. The world watched in horror as the situation deteriorated, fearing that it could spiral out of control. The world held its breath as the two nuclear-armed adversaries edged closer to the precipice. The international community, including major powers and global organizations, called for restraint and urged both sides to de-escalate. Diplomatic channels were activated, with urgent meetings and negotiations taking place behind the scenes. The fear of a nuclear confrontation was palpable, and the stakes could not have been higher. The tense standoff continued for days, with the fate of millions hanging in the balance. The situation was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present danger of conflict in a nuclear-armed world. Thankfully, after days of intense diplomatic efforts, a ceasefire was brokered, narrowly averting a catastrophic war. The agreement was a testament to the power of diplomacy and the importance of dialogue in resolving conflicts. The ceasefire brought a much-needed respite to the region, allowing for a de-escalation of hostilities and a return to relative calm. The efforts of the international community, along with the willingness of both sides to engage in dialogue, were crucial in preventing a disaster. The situation remains delicate, but the ceasefire offers a glimmer of hope for a more peaceful future. Section 5. Diplomatic dances and global players. In the intricate web of international relations, diplomacy often takes center stage. The delicate balance of power, the subtle art of negotiation, and the strategic alliances formed behind closed doors shaped the global landscape in profound ways. Formal dialogue between India and Pakistan remains suspended, a casualty of decades of mistrust and animosity. The border between these two nuclear-armed neighbors is a stark reminder of the unresolved tensions that have plagued the region for over 70 years. The line of control, heavily fortified and patrolled, stands as a symbol of the deep-seated enmity that has led to multiple wars and countless skirmishes. However, back-channel talks continue, often facilitated by countries like the United Arab Emirates. These covert discussions, away from the public eye, provide a glimmer of hope for de-escalation. The UAE, leveraging its neutral stance and strong diplomatic ties, has emerged as a key player in mediating these sensitive negotiations. Their efforts, though often unpublicized, are crucial in keeping the lines of communication open. The United States, under the Biden administration, has taken a more active role in mediating between the two rivals. Recognizing the potential for regional instability, the US has ramped up its diplomatic efforts, aiming to foster dialogue and reduce tensions. The Biden administration's approach marks a significant shift from previous policies, emphasizing engagement and multilateral cooperation. The recent ceasefire was a result of intense diplomatic efforts led by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance. Their relentless pursuit of peace, through countless meetings and negotiations, culminated in a fragile yet hopeful truce. This ceasefire, while tenuous, represents a significant achievement in the ongoing quest for stability in the region. China, with its growing influence in the region and its close ties to Pakistan, has also played a significant role in diffusing the crisis. Beijing's strategic interests in South Asia, coupled with its Belt and Road Initiative, have made it an indispensable actor in the regional power dynamics. China's involvement underscores the complex interplay of global powers in the India-Pakistan conflict. The international community recognizes that the India-Pakistan conflict has global implications. The United Nations, along with various international organizations, continues to advocate for a peaceful resolution. Global summits and peace talks serve as platforms for dialogue, urging both nations to find common ground and work towards lasting peace. The risk of nuclear escalation, the threat of terrorism, and the impact on regional stability make it imperative for global powers to remain engaged in seeking a peaceful resolution. The stakes are high, and the consequences of inaction could be catastrophic. As the world watches, the diplomatic dances and maneuvers of global players will determine the future of this volatile region. The path to peace is fraught with challenges, but with sustained effort and international cooperation, a brighter future is within reach.